All right, what's going on, everybody? Well, first, let's see if I can show myself. Okay, all right, here we go. All right, so I'm going to show you guys a little bit of some philosophy that I was able to come up with when it comes to. Hold on, let me just go full display real quick. There we go. Okay, maybe this will work. I don't know. All right, so I wanted to talk to you guys about the what I was able to figure out when it comes to. Let me put on my lights real quick. Fantasy football. So my philosophy is very simple, and it's a philosophy I'm surprised more people don't implement when they're drafting in any league, whether it's PPR, whether it's non-PPR, is that you should focus on availability as the best ability. So what I mean by this is try to get guys that are fairly healthy majority of the time, but also get into draft positions that don't get injured as much. So, for example, I actually put running backs at a lower on the lower draft priority than I would a wide receiver, because think about this: if you got Christian McCaffrey, right, and then you get, this is just examples, who's a good running back, but he's older, right? He's more injury prone, and running back is an injury prone position. So you get like a guy like Christian McCaffrey, and then you get a guy like, I don't know, maybe even Bijan Robinson. Give you that example. You get those guys. Running back is a very tough position, full of injuries and mishaps, right? Sometimes, a lot of the times when you're playing fantasy football, you can actually get an okay running back off the waiver wire due to injuries alone that happen in many offenses. So now I was lucky enough in my boy Slack Attacks league. I was able to get some okay running backs. Like I'm not like, nothing to write home about, but okay running backs that even if they got injured, it's okay. I'll just go find another one off the waiver wire. But they're not going to like totally put a dent in my fantasy production if I lose them. So what I did prioritize was I prioritized my wide receivers. And actually, I'm going to explain this just by showing it to you guys here real quick. So what I did, and let's go to full display. See if this will actually. We're going to go a little bit higher on this one, you guys, just a little bit. Oh, hold on. Maybe. Oh, here we go. There we go. Now it's working. Okay. So that's the keyword generator right here, by the way. It's pretty neat. I realized I do need to do something real quick here. Let's go to. Let's just kind of lower this a little bit. That works. That's fine. All right, so this is my fantasy team, by the way. This is the greatest name of all time, by the way. It's Tom Brady turned me gay. That is the name of my team. So, as you can tell, we got Tom Brady turned me gay. I got his picture of C3PO here. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, here's the players that I have. So, we got Josh Allen. Is my quarterback. So, here's actually, I think it will show you the draft order. And here's kind of how I drafted. And I'm lucky because I'm in a league full of, good people. But they don't look at the fantasy league the way that I do, and luckily this is one where I put in $50, so your chances of winning go up exponentially the more good wide receivers you can stock up on. And that's all opinion based. Now this league I'm in is one flex, as you can see, one flex position. I treat that as another wide receiver position, to be honest. I treat the two wide receivers as good, but I treat the flex as my designated third wide receiver position because I believe that receivers are valuable, one, because it's a PPR league. Two, they are less injury prone than running backs. So if you can get great wide receivers, you don't necessarily need the greatest running backs. However, I got lucky. I actually scored in getting Zamir White and Aaron Jones right here. So these guys are great. But I also scored in getting Josh Allen. So I got Josh Allen as my fourth pick, for a fourth round pick. So I got Jamar Chase in the first round. I'm surprised because I was the 10th pick in this draft. 10 out of 10. And I couldn't believe my eyes when I got Jamar Chase as my pick. And then, of course, I got to pick the next pick. I was debating on getting A.J. Brown or Garrett Wilson. I probably might have made a little bit of a mistake by getting A.J. Brown, but honestly, having Jamar Chase as my first pick actually was good enough in my mind. So even if A.J. Brown doesn't put up elite production, he's still going to be a great receiver to have, especially considering that the Eagles have gotten better by getting a better running back, and they seem to improve a lot. They seem to have improved a lot. So either way, A.J. Brown's going to get a lot of targets, and that's the point. You want to get guys that get a lot of targets. So I scored in getting Jamar Chase and A.J. Brown as my first two picks. This third one was debatable. So I got Drake London, but I also scored Malik Neighbors, right? So they're both, we haven't seen Drake London put up a 1,000 yard plus season, but we also know that Malik Neighbors is good, just as good as Drake London, based on his college career. Collegiately, Neighbors is a force to reckon with. He's also one of the top receivers drafted in the recent draft. So he's young. He's going to get a lot of targets. He's going to be their main option at wide receiver. So on a target basis, I mean, you still have Daniel Jones as your quarterback, so that's not a good thing. But at the same time, I think he's going to be great to have as my other receiver. So we'll see how he turns out. But another guy that I stole off of there was DK Metcalf. So I think Metcalf is going to be great to have as my third receiver as well, just in case, based on matchups alone. So Seattle might have a really good matchup with someone else versus maybe Drake, London on Atlanta is going to have a bad matchup with another team. So I could switch out these receivers at any time. My primary guys obviously are going to be A.J. Brown and Jamar Chase. Those are going to be my go-tos, my ride or dies. But so I was able to get really good receiver core very early. So I stacked up my bench a little bit. I even got Jacoby Myers and Keon Coleman, which I honestly think Keon Coleman's going to be not like the greatest receiver in the world, but I think stacking my bench up early is a good thing. But yeah, having Aaron Jones and Zamir White is huge for me as far as fantasy football is concerned. But you could see here, I could do just about anything with this lineup. I think it's going to be a great lineup overall. And Drake London's going to be utilized heavily in this new Atlanta offense. So I think he's going to get a lot of targets is the goal. You want to get guys that get targets is really the key. And hold on. Oh, no rush, bud. Buddy Nathan. We're doing Magic the Gathering tonight. It's going to be fun. I'm going to play a little Magic and then call it good. But yeah, anyway, so I was able to get tons of wide receivers really early and like guys that should have been picked immediately. But I treasure wide receivers. So I think it's more important to have a plethora of wide receivers. I still was able to even get okay running backs, okay enough to be like, put up some okay production. I was able to get Brian Robinson Jr., who I think is going to be great. I even got J.K. Dobbins, who I believe was actually the biggest steal of this one. I think when it comes to my least effective pick, I think Dalton Schultz. I got a tight end very late. Of course, I don't really care who I get for my kicker or my defense. You can usually stream those throughout the year. I think I actually got a pretty good pick in getting Greg Zuerlein. I think with Aaron Rodgers being back on the Jets, I think they're going to get into field goal range at the very least quite a bit. So I think having a guy like Greg Zuerlein is going to be huge as a kicker. But I got the Saints defense. I don't know if they're like any good this year. I may just do streaming on defense where I just pick a defense off the waivers every week sort of thing, just kind of based on matchup alone. But yeah, overall, I was able to score. First off, getting Josh Allen, I think in any situation is good. He's going to have really good fantasy numbers. He should at least, as long as he stays healthy. But also getting Aaron Jones and Zamir White, I can't argue with that. I actually got some good running backs I'm not saying like they're not the elite. Obviously, they're not the elite of the elite. But as far as running backs are concerned, I think I actually did pretty well. In not even intentionally. I wasn't even intentionally looking for a running back. I was just looking for my receiving core first. I even went in later rounds to get these guys, which shows I think that they were a lot of people were neglecting the running back position. My last picks were basically my last pick was defense. My second to last pick was kicker. Um, but yeah, overall, the guys that I got were primarily just whoever I could get. And I think it's funny because even my receiving core looks good. So even if Drake London ends up being a bust, which I don't think he will, he's going to have a huge target share. Um, yes, sure. Anyway, so actually I want to see how many people are viewing the live stream right now. Probably not a lot, but hopefully. We'll look at some of the other teams. Like, so this is the thing. If you're entering a fantasy league of just friends of yours, maybe just people you know, you might have the advantage if if you actually have a decent draft strategy. But yeah. Oh, yeah, we're on for tonight. We're on for tonight, G Dog. Nathan will be coming over shortly. Okay, sorry about that. I got distracted. I had to text my boys. Hold on. So, text here. Hold on. Damn it, man. I'm not gonna repeat what I just saw in here. But yeah. Anyway, so let's see here. How many people are viewing this? People viewing this at all? Do people care? Oh, it looks like some people are viewing this. Nice. Okay. Anyway, so any comments, by the way, I welcome. But yeah, if you look at the bench, like I said, my bench is pretty stacked. I got great run. I actually decent bench running backs, which is wild to think about. I usually don't. I feel like I just scored on a lot of these guys. So I think Brian Robinson Jr. was probably my best bench running back that I could get overall. Even getting Zamir White and Aaron Jones, it's like I said, I get middle of the road running backs on purpose just because there's such a high likelihood of the running back getting injured. If you pick a running back way too high in the draft, your chances of that great running back getting injured go up because it's a running back. And if they're utilized very often, there's lots of injuries that happen throughout the year. They may be good running backs, but there's also a higher chance of that running back getting injured more than that receiver. So you want to get the best receivers you can first, and then I just don't prioritize running back as much as everybody else does. And like I said, I was shocked to even get run of the mill, just decent running backs. I didn't expect it. So, and it's fine because like that's kind of the way you should. You should really try to also stack up your bench. Stack up your bench with as many good receivers as you can. And I think I might have overstacked a little bit the more I look at it, but got some. I was gonna say the worst case scenarios. I might have to get rid of one of my. I don't like getting rid of receivers though. I like to try to keep as many of those guys as I can. I'm actually totally fine with throwing out running backs if I need to off my bench. Like if I need to have a backup quarterback, I'll get rid of J.K. Dobbins in a heartbeat. But I'd rather not though. And a lot of the times, I think gotta look at Greg Zerlin's bye week. You have to also look at because for instance, I don't really care that much about who my defense is or who my kicker is. I really don't. Like I can interchange those guys in a heartbeat. I don't even really care that. I mean, I would have loved to get a good tight end position, but actually Dalton Schultz, oddly enough, is a decent enough tight end, even though he's going to be in competition with a lot of the receivers though on this team. So I think it's going to be tough for him to get a lot of receptions, but I do think that Dalton Schultz is still going to be targeted a couple times, at least a decent amount of times. But yeah, as far as it goes, though, I think I drafted really well. I think, yeah, I did a lot better than I thought I would. People were getting players that I was surprised they were getting. Like they were getting see, I'm all about statistics. I'm all about analytics. Whenever I do these sort of fantasy draft things, I'm all about like how many good wide receivers can I stack up and collect on my bench. And also another thing, fun fact, I also got kind of a wide receiver handcuff going on here. Because if DK Metcalf gets injured for whatever reason, then Jackson Smith and Jigma, or vice versa, one or the other, I kind of got handcuffed here. So even, like I said, if Drake London or even Malik Neighbors end up being duds, I still got DK or Jackson Smith and Jigma. So it's one of those. It's also really matchup dependent too. Like I said, having a ton of wide receivers on your bench that are decent, if they have a good matchup, like against a really shitty defense, then it kind of opens up a lot of avenues for you. But yeah, DK is probably was one of the best picks I could get, for sure. But yeah, Drake London, I think I see why people are not like high on him because he hasn't really proven himself yet, but he still gets a lot of targets, and also they finally got a more offensive-based coach under a new scheme. I just think that under Arthur Smith, he was underutilized, and also Atlanta hasn't had any really good quarterbacks in a while, so it's just like, now Atlanta actually has Kirk Cousins, and they also have that rookie quarterback as well. So even if Kirk gets injured, they still have okay quarterback play one way or another. So I don't know. I think what we're seeing is a good thing. Let's see here, but yeah, that dude, I was able to get a lot of great wide receiver talent. And I was still able to get. This is what blows my mind about the drafts when you're like drafting against people, because there's $50 on the line for me. Like, I don't mind losing it because I won the league that I'm in right now. The year before, I won $350. But with fantasy though, it's really just about getting good receivers early, keeping those receivers, never getting rid of them, and then if you lose a running back to injury, then so be it, because I got run of the mill running backs. Running backs get injured more than receivers. Running back is a really tough position. And I'm not even saying, by the way, people think I'm disrespecting running backs. On the contrary, I'm acknowledging just how tough the position is and how injury prone anybody can be if you're a running back. It's not an easy position. It's not an easy position. I want to try to be like Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson of fantasy football. No, but it's just the thing for me is, but I'll show you how everybody drafted though, if it lets me show by the way, Tom Brady, Turn Me Gay is the team name. If it lets me show, I'm hoping that it actually lets me see the draft. How everybody drafted. Let's see, league, message board. I was hoping it let me see the draft. Posing teams. Okay. Well, I guess we could see the other teams. I could see like all these other teams here real quick. So, like for instance, we got my boy Cody. I was really hoping it would actually show what he drafted, but you could see that, in my opinion, I actually see he got running backs a little too early. See what I'm saying? He got Kyron Williams, who's good. These are both incredible running backs, but they are more prone to an injury than anybody else. Carter Pitt says hi. Jonathan Seamanchuk says, "Can I see your roster?" Actually, yeah, I'll go back to my roster here in a second. But real quick, we're just looking at just an example, and I love my boy Cody, but he did go a little too running back heavy early. And even Lamar is a running back in my opinion, even though he's a quarterback. These guys, all three of these guys, this is an example of an injury-prone lineup. These guys will get injured a lot more. They're more likely to get injured than the wide receivers. So I think it's bad to focus on running backs first. It's just availability is the best ability. So if you're going to have if you're going to have the likelihood of your team getting injured, that's not good. You're going to have a hard time throughout the year in fantasy. You want to have guys that, because of their position, are less likely to be injured. So, I don't know. Let's go back to mine then, just so we could show. We'll go to my team real quick. So this is my team. Tom Brady turned me gay. It was a worse name than that before, but so we got Josh Allen, Aaron Jones, Zamir White. Like I said, I drafted these guys in the, I think I might have been the 7th, 8th round is when I got Zamir White and Aaron Jones. Now, my first 2 picks were Jamar Chase was my number 1 pick. I got, by the way, I was the 10th pick in this draft. I honestly feel like I got away with highway robbery on how many good receivers I got. Just to be able to stack up on good receivers is incredible in this. So I got Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown as my first 2 main picks. And then I got Drake London, I think was my 3rd. And then, Drake London was my 3rd. I got Josh Allen as my 4th. So honestly, getting Josh Allen is incredible. And then I got Malik Neighbors as my 5th round pick. 6th round, I got DK. So I was able to get 2 really good receivers in the 5th and 6th round, which blows my mind. I'm just shocked that nobody tried to even get them on their bench. You want to get receivers early is the key, because the flex position, in my opinion, is just another wide receiver slot. I know it could be a tight end, it could be a running back or receiver, but really I don't really prioritize running backs at all in any way. So my main focus is receiver. You got to get your receivers. It makes more sense analytically speaking, because receivers are going to be way more available than running backs. You still need running backs, obviously, because if you're in a league that has 2 running back slots, obviously you got to fill those slots with someone. But I want to fill the slots with people I'm okay with losing, right? I got great receivers to back myself up. As far as running backs are concerned, I got middle of the road, boring, whatever. So Zamir White, Aaron Jones, right? These are good guys, actually. These were actually pretty fantastic, all things considered. The fact that I was able to get these guys after drafting all these guys, it blows my mind. I feel like I said, I got away with robbery on it. Brian Robinson Jr. How the hell did I get even in J.K. Dobbins? Man. So a lot of it, like I said, I don't really care about the running back position. In fact, if I need to, if all my running backs get injured, if Aaron Jones gets injured, if Zamir White gets injured, if Brian Robinson, if J.K. Dobbins, if all those guys got injured, no problem. 0 problem. Then I will just go right to the waivers. In fact, let's say right now, all my running backs got injured, right? Zamir White, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson, and J.K. Dobbins. What do I do? Okay, well, what do? I look at the waiver wires, right? Is there going to be a lot to choose from, obviously, if all those guys get injured? No. But there might be in the future, is the point. And I don't really treasure running backs that much. I just don't. Receivers are going to be your main best bet in winning any fantasy league. So let's see. Chad Platinum in the chat says, I took a gamble on Cortland Sutton this year. I think Bo Nix will get him over 1,000 yards. Yeah, honestly. Um, so Bo Nix is I think he's going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I really do think he's going to fare well. He's going to do really well. Um, uh, I mean, Cortland Sutton will probably do okay. He might do better. I don't like to take I don't like to take gambles on anybody. Like I like to just try to look for guys that are just talented and are gonna get a lot of targets. And I think Sutton will get a lot of targets. I just don't. It's still an unknown on how the season's gonna turn out for Denver. Sean Payton's a decent coach, but I don't know. I still don't have that much faith in Denver. I think their offense is gonna be okay. It's exciting though. But yeah, as far as it goes, me personally, I don't think I'd take a gamble on Cortland Sutton unless it was like later rounds and he's still there on the, if it's a later round and I'm like, fuck it. They need to fill my bench up. I put Cortland Sutton in there for sure. Absolutely. But yeah, if you're looking at, I still think I got away with robbery by getting Aaron Jones and Zamir White. I think I really actually, like I said, they're not like the elite of the elite, obviously, but they're still not a bad. These guys are not bad selections by any means. The fact that I even got them in the 7th, 8th round is shocking, to say the least. Like I should not have been able to get those guys so late. Which is one of the reasons why I love doing these types of drafts, these types of fantasy drafts. If you really focus on having wide receivers and really stacking your bench full of good wide receivers, you'll be set for the rest of the year, You still got to get running backs, obviously, but you want to get running backs that'll get you some production. And if they don't, it's okay because you still got great receivers and you got a great quarterback. You're gonna get, I think, you 3 great wide receivers early, and then a great running and a great quarterback, and then that's the key. So Scorpio says, "This is my team. Is there anyone I should trade? Team is Lamar Jackson, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, Seahawks. Dude, you got Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley early. I'm gonna diss that a little bit because, like I said, running backs are so prone to injuries that you're doing yourself a disservice by getting running backs early. You're better off just getting really talented wide receivers who are going to get a lot of targets early because those are going to be your money makers in a lot of situations. I will say this though. The fact that you actually got the fact that you got Jamar Chase though and T. Higgins, that's actually pretty good. You must have been in a really shitty fantasy league. You actually did get some talent. I'll give you props on that. Like you overall in the wide receiver range, you actually did a good job. So I'm going to give you all the props in the world on getting those receivers though. As far as running backs, though, like I said, dude, running backs are so prone to injury. It's just like it's such a turnoff to try to get any. You want to try to get the best receiver talent that you can get early. If you can get that talent early and use that flex spot as the 3rd wide receiver spot, you'll be fine. And then, I really do treat running backs like bottom of the barrel when it comes to fantasy. I even prioritize tight ends over running backs if we're going to be honest. Because I just think that running back is such a liability position. Running backs are always crashing into the offensive line. They're bulky, they're good. But man, dude, there's such a high likelihood of getting injured as a running back. Versus, why don't I just get wide receivers who are really, really good sure. And by the way, I'm not saying wide receivers don't get injured. I'm just saying if you're to do a comparison between wide receiver injuries versus running back injuries, the running back is more likely, far more likely, to get injured than the wide receiver. So if we're going to go with probability alone, I don't believe luck is a good strategy, but if we're gonna measure by probabilities, I want to have as many wide receivers as I can and really just kind of not give a shit about running backs. And so it's funny because they were in the group chat, they were kind of making fun of me a little bit because they don't realize how little I care about running backs on my fantasy team. I actually love the position. I love the players who play the position. I think they're incredible people. The fact that they can play it at all is amazing. But what I'm saying fantasy-wise, you don't want to have the best running backs. You want to have middle of the road. And you want to have elite wide receivers, you want to have an elite quarterback. And then for running backs, you just kind of want middle of the road. You don't really need the greatest running backs. And if you could stack your bench with good wide receivers, you're set for the rest of the year. I stole in this draft the best. Look at that. This is my bench. That I should not have been allowed to get Malik Neighbors. I should not have been allowed to get DK Metcalf or Jackson Smith and Jigma, by the way, or Jacoby Myers. So as my bench, this is a great bench. Also, Brian Robinson Jr. Like I said, I'm not big on running backs, but I should not have been able to get Brian Robinson Jr. so deep in the draft. That's my opinion. Jacoby Myers, Keon Coleman. I think because Keon's going to be, I think he's going to be like the second option probably for Josh Allen. Either way, Josh Allen needs all the receivers he can get. So the fact they got Keon Coleman's good. I think he'll be decent. But J.K. Dobbins, man, I feel like that probably might have been the biggest steal out of everybody. Might have been. It's a late round steal. But Scorpio, quick thing. He said, thanks for the feedback, also, but you really should. By the way, the fact, I don't know what league you're in, but I don't know how you got Jamar Chase. Like, how? Man, I don't know how I got Jamar Chase, to be honest. That was surprising. I could not believe I got Jamar. Like, that blew my mind. Everybody was prioritizing the big time running backs. You shouldn't, dude. They're probably going to get injured. That's the biggest thing about fantasy. Availability in fantasy football, availability is just as important as anything else. And if you can have a position that doesn't get injured as much and great players in that position, you're set for the rest of the year. Unless every receiver, here's the thing. Unless every receiver I have turns out to be a big old bust, like I doubt Jamar Chase is going to be a bust. I doubt A.J. Brown's going to be a bust. I mean, he could. Who knows? Drake London actually could be. But the fact of the matter is, that's okay because I got Malik Neighbors, I got DK Metcalf, I've got great receivers. In the event that this receiver here, for instance, turns out to be a dud or not as great as we thought, he still can be a bench receiver, is what I'm trying to say. So the fact of the matter is, I still also got Josh Allen. I hope he doesn't get injured this year. But, I still got great players all over the board. So, let's see here. But let's take a look at some of these other teams in this league. Let's look at the head-to-head real quick. So, first week of the year, I'm going up against my boy Bo, Team Flora. He's his projected total, of course, is 121. The projections are usually off, but then my projections are 125 for the game. This is kind of cool. I didn't realize this, but ESPN leagues actually give you projected advantage in comparison. So I have the advantage this week in quarterback. He's got advantage in running back. I actually surprisingly have advantage at running back. Wow. That's a shocker. And then receiver, I have advantages for Jamar Chase and A.J. Brown. That's, yeah, definitely advantage goes to me there because he's got some actually good receivers now that I look at it. Tight end, he definitely has the advantage. He's got Mark Andrews. I got fucking Dalton Schultz. Devonta Smith. He's got advantage in wide receiver with Devonta Smith for sure. Drake London. I mean, I could put in maybe DK Metcalf and I might have the advantage, but honestly, I'm cool with it. Let's see. And then defense, I surprisingly have the advantage on defense. He's got defense on the kicker. Oh, sorry, he's got advantage on kicker. I don't, but honestly, I still have the advantage overall in projected point total, mainly because I'm actually surprised. Like I said, I got away with robbery in getting these running backs right here. So he's got Derrick Henry and David Montgomery, which not bad. You know, he's definitely got the advantage in running back for sure, but I got the advantage in the receiver core, even if it's barely. But yeah, no, my full, like, scoring wise, I'm projected to be kicking ass, you know. Let's see. Let's look at his bench. So his bench, he definitely prioritizes tight ends a little bit. I'm not liking his bench is actually pretty okay. Benches. But yeah, anyway. So like I said, availability is the best ability. All my players are all available. I've got no injured players that I didn't even draft injured ones. I just said, hey, if you're available and you're good, I'm definitely having you on my team. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty good. And then let's see. Scorpio saying I could have taken CD instead of Jamar, but I wanted Higgins and Chase together. Plus, I'm a Bagels fan. Nice. Oh, honestly, you actually have a good handcuff there, in a sense, by having Higgins on your roster too. So if Jamar Chase actually gets injured, you have Higgins to back up. So that's a good handcuff right there. Scorpio also says not CD. I meant to say jitters. Could have taken. Oh, whatever. Anyway, no, getting Jamar Chase though is honestly a great pick. I'm lucky I got Jamar, to be honest. I was the 10th pick in my draft. I still for the life of me don't know how I managed to actually get Jamar Chase. That was luck. The luckiest grab of all time. But yeah, got Jamar, got AJ Brown, which is blows my mind I was able to get these guys so early. Drake London, getting him early was surprising. Even getting Malik Neighbors and DK Metcalf early. These are like my first picks. I still got Josh Allen fourth, but this is like my sixth pick. You should not be able to get two of the highest caliber receivers in such a later round. That just blows my mind. It blows my mind. Like, you should not be able to, but I was able to, and I wouldn't look. You never say you have it in the bag in fantasy, but man, if you have a deep bench of good receivers, and also if you have a pretty, like, I have an okay bench right now. Like, I'm looking at running back position. Dude, I'm looking good. So I don't know. The whole situation looks great, but I definitely stacked up though, for sure. And also, here's another thing. I can also trade if I need to. So if I let's say I don't know, let's say Brian Robinson Jr. starts having a really, really good year and better than one expects, I could maybe trade him. Like, let's say Josh Allen gets injured or something. I could maybe trade Brian Robinson Jr. for a decent quarterback without having to go to the waivers, you know. And because, like I said, I don't prioritize running backs at all in any form or fashion. I prioritize wide receivers first, quarterback second, tight end third, shockingly. And then fourth is running back for my priorities. And then everything else, defense and kicker, they're the last on my list. I could care less. I mean, I still want to get if I can get a decent kicker, I'm going to get a decent kicker, but I'm only going to get him in later rounds. That's how I do it. So it's the way to do it, in my opinion. Scorpio, though, you got some good picks, man. Oh, yeah. Good picks, dude. Let's see. But yeah, no, this is definitely going to be, as far as fantasy, this is might be the best fantasy team I've ever assembled. I'm trying not to jinx myself because I'm a little superstitious to a degree. But like, let's take a look here at. Let's look at. Let's see, players, team league. Let's look at the teams. Let's look at league home real quick. So like, if we look at let's look at the Hawk Tua. Oh my god. Let's look at this. So they got they actually got CJ Stroud. Hell yeah, that's a good pick. But look, they got Saquon Barkley, who I love Saquon. He's talented, but you prioritize running backs too early, you're going to get screwed. This is an example. Saquon Barkley and Rachaad White, it's just a bad idea, dude. Don't get elite running backs early. Get middle of the road, get elite wide receivers first. That's the key. And then everything else is golden afterwards. I think he did good for quarterback, though. I really do. Sam Laporta, actually, getting him at tight end, he did get a steal. T. Higgins, pretty good. Let's see. Stephon Diggs. Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good. Christian Kirk. But yeah, no, so the thing is, like I said, prioritize wide receiver talent as best as you can. Get guys that are going to be wide receiver ones, that are going to get a lot of targets, and targets are the key. If they can get a lot of targets, you have a higher likelihood of winning. Running backs, the more a running back is utilized, the more dangerous it gets over time for that running back during the season, that they're going to get injured. They're just going to get injured. It sucks. So you're taking a bigger risk getting a talented running back. You're taking less of a risk by getting a really talented receiver. So if you try to prioritize the receivers first, and hell, even stack your bench with more receivers, you're good. So straight up, though, look at that. Oh man, I don't like this team that I'm looking at. It's like there's decent players, obviously, but if they didn't, I don't think they didn't draft the way that I would draft. I'll say that. I felt like they put too much of an emphasis on running backs, clearly. Rachaad White, he's good, but do not put an emphasis on running backs, folks. Just not a good idea. It's just too much of a gamble. It's a gamble, man. I want a for sure thing. Well, I wouldn't say for sure, but I want as close to a for sure thing as I could get when it comes to that sort of talent. Let's look at my boy Ben, dude. My boy Ben Hodges here. See, Jordan Love. There's another thing, man. You got running backs too early. Alvin Kamara, Alvin Kamara is getting too old anyway. I think he's going to get injured first. Jonathan Taylor's going to get injured pretty early. Yeah, you guys, can't prioritize running backs, man. I got to diss this lineup. Now, Amon-Ra St. Brown, though, dude, that's a good pick. That's actually a really good pick. I think he's going to do fantastic as far as receivers go. Debo, I don't know. I'm not big on the 49ers as much as everybody else is. Jalen Waddle, that's a good pick too. Good job on getting Waddle, by the way. Hell yeah. Bench. Now, my boy's bench is not looking good. I don't like this bench. tight end I'm actually liking, though. Dallas Goedert's pretty good. I'd have to say, all in all, it's an okay receiving core for sure. I'm not liking that bench though, dude. The bench just doesn't feel good. Look, you're only as good as your bench sometimes, and I think you do need a good bench. I'm not big on Jordan Love though. I just don't think he's going to be that great this year. I think he's going to be good, but I don't think he's going to be like what everybody projects him to be. I think it's a little ridiculous. And yeah. Jonathan Taylor, I'm not feeling Jonathan Taylor either. Like, I'm telling you, man, you go too early with these with these running backs, you're just screwing yourself over. And a lot of these guys, they went too early on the running backs. Just, and hey, good for them if they don't get injured. I mean, you don't want them to get injured, obviously, but I just feel like this is the right direction, is to go with receivers first. I prioritize the hell out of receivers for sure. But my boy Nathan's here, almost going to be here, so hell yeah. Anyway, I want to thank you guys though for checking this out. If anybody's in comments, let me see if any last comments before I turn off the stream. I'm going offline here in a second, so I'll face my accusers here. But yeah. So overall, that's my team. That's what I kind of figured would be the best way to go, is just nothing but receivers. And you guys got any questions, comments, concerns? You guys want any fantasy advice? I figure this is the only thing I could legally give advice on is fantasy football. But yeah, no, like I said, I prioritized big time. I got Jamar Chase, I got AJ Brown. Just prioritize the best of the best, dude. I'm still kind of, I really am still kind of shocked that I was able to get Aaron Jones and Zamir White. Zamir White's actually young enough. 7 games of scarcely used backup was Josh. Yeah, White, Zamir White, I think is going to be really good. I hope he is. I think it's going to be kind of running back by committee if it's Alexander Madison or whatever. But yeah, he was. It's going to be pretty good for them. And then Aaron Jones, I think it's going to be pretty good. He's like 29 years old, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't trust Aaron Jones that much, to be honest, as a running back. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens for sure. But well, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to view this video. I got nothing else I want to add to this, but I hope you guys have an incredible day. Bye.